Hello everyone, welcome back to the second episode of Fated Queen. I hope you will love it. A full grown man was rolled out to the side of his king size bed. A smile scratched his face. He couldn't help but feel giddy and odd, but not necessarily bad feeling rising in his chest. Maybe it was nervous. Maybe it was eagerness, or maybe it was just stomach edging up. It felt didn't matter. Nothing else mattered today. Finally, today was the day his parents was going to introduce him to his true bride. He would finally meet his wife and future king of the country. He was so excited as a child on Christmas. Would she be short, or would she be stand as tall as him? But what would be pretty impressive as he stood at the nearly 6.5 feet tall woman of Korean were known to be petite, but however she was, and however she looked, he just knew he would love her gently. After all, she had been chosen by fate itself. She would save his life in future, and this can only mean that she must be a warrior in heart. He got up from his comfort of bed, the silk sheet falling behind him. Walking up to his great closet, he peered at himself in the mirror, forever pleased with what he stared back at. Meet you, you soon, my lady, he mismarked at his reflection. Taehyung, hurry up, his mother shouted from the downstairs, but Taehyung had no desire to hurry up or do anything at all. He was tired. He had spent all night thinking and hadn't gotten any sleep. Anxiety and nerves eating him up, and now he had to go to the castle to meet the prince, his prince. He blushed at the thought and suppressed an embarrassment scream. He had spent his entire night thinking about his life, his past, the things he had done, and the people he had met, the present, the life he knew, and the future, the life he will have to live, and what might become of it. His parents, his brother, the prince, the king, the queen, and Yonggi-hyung. Oh, but how would he ever be able to forget Young? Do people ever forget about their first love, even when they would be married? Would he ever really be able to forget his childhood love? The one who made him realize he had no appreciation for the soft crafts of a woman, but for the hard muscular muscles of a man, the boy who always succeeded to take his breath away, the boy who made him swan like a teenager. I'm lucky enough, though I'm getting married to a man, he thought wearily. His mother had quietly patted Thang's shoulder, knowing that he is going through. She probably thinks they wanted a girl as his life partner. I think didn't want to correct her. At least you will have a better life there in Castle, Mrs. Kim said. But what was a better life? A better life with riches but no love? A life with a husband but not a lover? Is that what the end goal of life was? Maybe Thang was just idealistic, a romantic who saw the world through rose-colored glasses and believed everyone was good and that life is great, but he loved the idea of love. As, as his mother warned him again, they decided to go and get ready before his mother lost her temper. She was scary when angry, every mother was, and while bathing, a tear may have slipped down Thank's, but no one needs to know that. Time escaped God, he has whispering on his lips. Damn it, they didn't mean to say it out loud. He immediately covered his mouth, eyes widen, and mortification. He didn't even want to think about the repercussions of insulting a royal, much less the crown prince himself. They had truly meant to say it in his head. Pass his judgment as one does on the first sight, but really his mind to mouth filter had failed him on the worst possible moment. It was an innocent mistake. As soon as he saw the prince in the garden, supposedly waiting for his queen, it slipped out. They got scared of Jungkook's pursuings. It looks strange, dangerous, and scary. Who was he? Jungkook was. And now the prince was looking at them, surprised and maybe a little annoyed, but definitely not happy. Oh God, why was the prince not happy to see his fiancée? Of course, he is not happy to see me. I'm ugly, Thang thought. Jungkook got up from the garden chair and walked to the short boy who had his hand on his mouth after uttering that ridiculous comment. To his credit, the boy looked utterly ashamed of his action, as he should be. How dare he speak to me like that? Does he not know I am a prince? Jungkook thought, annoyed when Jungkook was standing in front of the boy. He glared at him and signaled him to put his hand down, and the nerve of the boy. Taehyung just shook his head rapidly. Jungkook felt his nose flare up in anger. He did not appreciate defense in anyone. The young prince was really annoyed, and it threw angry shows in his harsh tone. You take your hands away from your mouth, come now. Jungkook ordered. The boy looked at a little hurt at being called a commoner. Then what should I call you? Him? Johannes? Then foolish boy interrupted me while I am waiting here for my dear wife. Jungkook thought, his anger growing. The boy finally took his hand away from his mouth nervously, looking at everywhere but the prince's face. He coughed awkwardly, looking entirely out of his place. Well, speak up, boy. I haven't got all day. What is your business here? Jungkook asked, growing tired of the wimpy boy's behavior. And how did you even get inside? Was left unsaid by the prince. The boy was deeply hurt and puzzled, and it showed on his face. He was like an open book. I am Kim Tae-hung, he spoke up finally. Jungkook found the information entirely unnecessary and irrelevant, but the boy continued on almost rumbling. Your pacing is not bad, really. It suits you. I'm just got scared of it. I'm being honest. It just slipped out. I didn't really mean it. It happens sometimes, you know. I hope you wouldn't hold any that against me anyway. How do I hope I was not too late? Thing wrapped in one breath. And who are you? Do I even know you? Jungkook asked, puzzled by the boy's act of familiarity. Thang blushed, glancing sideways, and finally spoke. I am your queen. You are what? You are what? Taekook got startled by young prince's sudden shout and felt a little hurt. Why would the prince act like this? Surely, even if the prince didn't exactly prefer him as a spouse. Mother told me he was waiting for me. They said it all just exists in fairy tale. After all, you must be mistaken, Mr. Thehang. The prince said curtly. I am waiting for my fiance, he retreated. Thehang stared at him confused. But I'm your fiance, they paused, not sounding so sure anymore, or at least I was told I am. By who, may I ask? My parents, your Highness. A mistake. Must be. I'm sure you. Yes, a mistake, the prince said. But it seems like he was more or less talking to himself. Then frowned. Are you implying that my parents would lie to me? They felt eerie rise up in him. Your parents are not liars. My parents are not liars. I said must be a mistake. The prince fell back. And why do you think so? The younger boy asked, gritting his teeth. Who were you expecting, your Highness? Oh, I don't know. Maybe a woman for starters. The prince's jaw was set with barely contained for him. Ask your parents, not me. I was told to come here and I did. You think I wanted to deal with a rude prince on a good morning? Thing formed, clenching his fist by his side. In the back of mind, he was surprised to himself for lashing out at the prince like this. It was not his nature at all. It seems like the prince brought out the worst in him. Who are you to be speaking like this to me? Jungkook got angry. I am your fiance. Taeyang replied, oh, this must be a damn joke. What the heck? You are my fiance. You, who is a little boy? The prince yelled. He glared at Taeyang, who cowered back in fear. All his beard lost instantly. For a while, both of them stood there silently, sitting, refusing to say a word further, or not being able to. It seems like they had no direction to head onto. The the prince seems to think of it all as a prank, and Thang felt sick to his stomach. The much was already doomed to his bad start. Suddenly, Taeyang made a small noise in back of his throat as his wrist was suddenly yanked by the prince's grip, and Taeyang protested against the hold, but it was an iron grip. The prince refused to let go. Despite himself, Taeyang bruised at the content. He was dragged somewhere inside the castle. He felt a little depressive as his heartbeat sped up. He was not supposed to be feeling like this, not for a man who treated him like dirt. But a rude prince was still a prince, it seems. The outraged prince passed through the doors, ignoring the guards' greeting. He finally escaped them to a stop abruptly before the main hall, causing poor Taeyang to bump onto his back and yelp a small laugh. Taeyang picked from behind the prince's back and saw the king and queen lounging there. He immediately hid back behind Jungkook's back, but Jungkook pulled him forward by his hand. He was grabbing onto. Taeyang stumbled as he was pushed in front of the crushed The prince is in his mind. He shuffled his feet nervously, looking around at anywhere but the emperor. What was he supposed to say? Sorry, that he could not impress the prince, or was Thang supposed to complain and whinny about the grown prince acting like a temper throwing pot? Yeah, Thang is not sure. That would make a very good first impression in his future in-laws. What is the meaning of this Appaima? Jungkook asked, trying to seem calm but failing. Why, Jungkook, did we not inform you that your fiance was coming to see you? His mother asked calmly, sipping on her tea afterward. But he is a boy. Jungkook sputtered out, unable to believe his parents. He checked. You have chosen a boy for a position of the future queen. Jungkook pointed a finger at Taehyung angrily. You want this poor born? Taehyung felt intimidation rise in him at the insult. To help rule the country one day? Jungkook. The queen stood up, placing her cup on the table. Did we rise you up like this? Does it matter if he is a boy or if he is not royalty? I am ashamed to feel that you have somehow failed in our parenting. The crown prince cringed at the word. They did hurt a bit. Hey, sweet young boy, move over. Fate itself has chosen you for him. She walked over to Taehyung and patted his cheek, smiling brightly. He is a handsome boy. She looked over to her son, and you will grow to love him, Jungkook, she said firmly. Taehyung, who was blushing because of the queen's prize, smiled brightly, showing all his teeth. He glanced up at Jungkook shyly, who was silent, and smiled again. And if Jungkook found the smile cute, he would never tell Taehyung this. Well, very well then. Jungkook finally spoke up, having seems to have made a decision. If Emma insisted, then I would surely grow to love him. After all, Jungkook glanced at the ever blushing Taehyung, face hard and eyes steely. He is destined to save my life. The queen smiled and looked back at her husband, wiggling with her eyebrow as if to say success. The king grinned onto the cup of tea. Now, Imanapa, if you would excuse us, Jungkook glances them from the corner of his eyes. We would take our leaves to get know with each other. Jian smirked and picked up her tea again. Of course, dear. Just don't ruin his innocence yet. Jungkook smiled at his parents, cutely grabbing Taehyung's hand and swiftly walked out. Taehyung, who was still having a hard time getting over to the queen's word, felt his heart beating wildly and fear creeping up his body. Where was the prince taking him? Taehyung was not ready. He was not ready for what happened at all. If he knew, he would stay at home. The ruthless prince dragged Taehyung to his own room, dismissing the guards stationed outside with a quick flick of his hand. Jungkook pushed the younger boy inside rather forcefully and closed the door, backing Taehyung up against the door. I have waited all my life for my soulmate, a woman who is meant for me, chosen by the gods, made born for me. I would have accepted her no matter how she looked or where she was born, but who do I get instead? A boy, of course, he glanced darkly. I never so much as glanced at a woman inappropriately. He continued, I have never even touched anyone before because I was saving myself for my wife. Do you ever know how many offers I have had before? Do you know how hard it is to be an honorable man all these years, only for all your morals and dreams and expectation to get pushed on so terrible? Then he started stuttering. I am so sorry. He shouldn't even be apologizing to the cold-hearted prince. It was not his fault, but what was he supposed to do? He's never been good at defending himself. Young Hyung always did this for him. I thought, that I. Jungkook cut off him. Shut up, he yelled onto Taehyung's face, guts banging his fist against the door. Jungkook said, I know it is not your fault, but I had so many desires and now it's you I have to deal with. How will we even silly? I don't even want to think about it for a moment. While Taehyung was utterly stunned, this is the reason why Prince was acting like a completely mad. He felt shocked and scared. The prince was absolutely mad. How dare he assume that Taehyung as a husband would be lacking somehow just because he was a boy? Looking up at his older man confidently, Taehyung said, I can fulfill your desire. He blushed immediately after the words left his mouth. They felt too absence in his empty room. They all alone. Oh, really? Think so? Yeah. Jungkook smiled, rising and everyone amazement. He grabbed Taehyung's chin and lifted his head up. You are a kid. You don't even know what you are saying or what age even you are. 15? Jungkook mocked. I am 18. Taehyung exclaimed, tired of being called young or small or maybe as an insult. The only reason he was here was because he is an adult now. The prince hummed and inspected his fiance's face. On second thought, you are not bad though. He leaned down to whisper in Taehyung's ear, I might just have you fulfill my every desire. He trailed off his voice, sending shiver down Taehyung's spine. He is evil, Taehyung thought, shuddering. And then Jungkook leaned back and let all the expression on his face. Undisturbed persona of prince, he was in public. Sorry to break it to you, Taehyung, whatever your full name is, but nothing like that will ever happen between us. We will marry and our relationship will be purely political. Taehyung's heart made a painful, pitiful beat like it was dying, and maybe Taehyung was too. In a matter of days, he had lost everything. He was a commoner before, and now he would be nobody. A doll who sat by the crown prince, but neither had a voice nor a recognizable face. They would never get to be with his childhood love. Instead, be stuck with the stony prince who wanted nothing to do with him and made him feel like some sick. Taekook would never have a happy marriage and would have to leave his parents' house to play the role of a savior for a husband who hated him. But most of all, he would never have the one thing he had desired the most in his life, love. He could almost see his future in the back of his head, mocking obviously. They would wake up every day alone and lonely in the huge castle and miserable. You are dismissed, little queen, leave. Jungkook taunted. Taehyung had no idea how he would somehow save the prince's life in the future, but dear God, he wished he would just die doing it, save himself from a life of torment, save the prince's life from a life of anguish, fulfill his only purpose in this world, and fate had defined it and begun. Taehyung looked down and turned around to leave, tears falling in his eyes. To be continued. What will happen next? We'll get to know in the next episode. And I know Jungkook is rude. What do you feel about this character and what do you feel about Taehyung's character? Tell me in the comment section. See you again tomorrow. Be happy and healthy. Bye.